It was September. The boy was on the surgical rotation. It had been a good rotation so far. A couple of skills signed off. However, I still needed my suturing done. With a few hours of practicing and a side of YouTube videos, I was ready for hire. Very cheap and affordable. I went into the changing room, and as fate would want it, they didn't have my size. The trousers seemed alright. By the top was an absolute violation. The thing was so big, I looked like an avant-garde fashion model. Absolutely horrible. The Croc situation wasn't any better. It was like breaking a bank safe. All kinds of combinations. Big, small, left, right, clean, grimy. I was so desperate I considered taking one of the named ones. But to be fair, I chickened out. I didn't want that kind of pressure. Imagine yourself being in the theater when someone just comes in screaming, "Who took my goddamn Crocs?" Too much pressure. Instead, I took one of the bastard old ones. Looked like Yeezy 5000. You'll see when it comes out. In actuality, I didn't look too bad. You should see Dora and the cat lady. It's an absolute sight. I made my way to a few operating rooms with not a single soul in sight. Needless to say, the boy was lost. I went back the same way I came in to the reception, and it turned out I was way too early. Came back 30 minutes later, and like Iron Man, I was suited up and ready for action. But before that though, the hand wash. You've been there before, it can get tricky at times. It's not the actual hand washing, it's the making sure you don't touch anything else before you know the rest. The boy was a bit anxious, just slightly, not too much. But the nurse was there, guided me, and everything was fine and dandy. Normally, putting on a sterile gloves can be the most difficult bit in the whole abracadabra. Not me, bro. Swiss watch on a daily. I was so slick. It was like, whoops, whoops. I had heard good reviews about this plastic surgeon, so I had high hopes. I gave my usual spiel and introduced myself to the team. The procedure was a bilateral mastectomy. As soon as the case started, I knew I was in the right place. I got drilled. My knowledge on breast presentations was challenged. And between a few and ahs, I didn't do too bad. But I did trip out on why you would ask a patient to contract their chest during a breast examination. Doc explained it was one of those that make sense moments. But bro, I don't know what I was thinking of. I just blurted out some nonsense. It wasn't it. To be fair, I wasn't the only one. There was a registrar with me. She got it wrong too. So we were 2 in 1. For a moment, I thought it was going to be like my time in gastro. Cat lady and myself had to stand there for 4 hours watching a plasma screen whilst the surgeon does an anterior resection. It was absolutely boring. My feet were hurting pretty badly. Cat lady couldn't hack it. She had to sit down. Weak, big man like me, no worries. Now back to us. Boy, was I mistaken. Before long, I was a contributing member of this team. My hands were stained and I was the de facto assistant to Doc. To be honest, I wasn't doing anything major. A few bits and bobs, holding this, holding that. But the pride in my chest was immense. Time flew by ever so quickly to my dismay. I was really enjoying the session. At the end of the procedure, I asked the surgeon if I could close. Let me reiterate this. I had not done this on an actual person before. The only practice I had had was on a dummy. Plastics was not the most suitable place for your first time at a rodeo. They are very, very meticulous about your suturing. As soon as I asked that question, that is when I thought about this. OT, this is plastics. You should have probably asked about suturing in orthopedics. Functional, not really aesthetic. But it was too late. This was my whipple, my moment of truth. The only thing that was in my mind at that point was, OT, please don't F up. Prior to this moment, I had not taken much notice of the lamp above the surgeon. I felt the heat on my neck and it was hot. My palms were sweaty, my heart was beating at 3,856 miles an hour, but the boy was not about to chicken out. I began, and like Groot, I was in my own world. One suture at a time, it was just me and the wound at hand. When I was 2/3 into my suturing, the surgeon asked me if I had done this before. Nah, bruh. I didn't say nah, bruh, but you get it. It's actually my first time, and this is what he said, bro. You guys should be happy for me. Listen to what he said. For your first time doing an actual suture on an actual human body, everything is actually, you are not doing bad at all. If I told you I was proud, if I told you I was all smiles, the last time I smiled this wide, I think I had beaten Dora in a rock, paper, scissors for the front seat. I finished the suturing alright, but the tying of the knot proved itself to be a bit problematic. But no worries, I was under the expert guidance of a plastic surgeon. I was guided through it, no problem at all. Doc was in a bit of a hurry, so he decided to do the other one. Bro, you know what happened next. Experience is experience. There was no single wasted movement. It wasn't like me, no. Doc finished the whole thing in less than a quarter of the time it took me to do mine. OT, you got all kinds of ways to go. I went back to the changing room once everything was done, and it had been a good day. The reviews were true. Doc was an absolutely amazing supervisor. In terms of my surgical rotation, this experience here is definitely in the Hall of Fames. See, moments like this just makes you think that it's not always doom and gloom. Some people might have their reservations, but when you get a clinician who is willing to supervise you and teach you, bro, you enjoy it like crazy. That's one of my best experiences. I actually forgot to ask him to sign me off. I got carried away. It's your boy Yoti, and I'm out. Salute!